Shalom, giving all praises, honor, and glory to our power, Yahweh, Bahasham Yahweh Shah, Bahasham Rachakudash. Double honors to the apostles, the bishops, and the elders of Great Millstone. Peace and blessings to the hopeful elect of the tabernacles of David, scattered throughout the four corners of the earth, wherever you may be. Wherever you may be, to you I say Shalom, Yahshua, Shalom. All right, so we're getting into the book of Joshua, chapter 18, and it says, "Rest of the land divided." All right, so we almost finished talking about the parting of the lands of the Israelites as we took the Canaanite territory, both east and west of Jordan. All right. Now, mind you, the full territory that belongs to us, we've never actually lived in. Not under King David, not under King Solomon, not even when we were split up to Northern Kingdom, Southern Kingdom. We never lived on all of our land, which would be from the River Nile, across Saudi Arabia, all the way over to the Euphrates River, up the Euphrates to like the bottom border of Turkey, all right, back east, okay, and pretty much majority, if not all, that coast of the Mediterranean going back down towards, Gaza and all that down there, continue back over to the Nile River. All of that is ours, okay, which that whole breakdown is, which that's actually important, because when you go into, reading Genesis and you speak about Adam, he was in those lands, all right, because it talks about the river that split into four heads. That was talking about the Jordan River. All right, the Pison, the Gihon, the Tigris and Euphrates, all those are mentioned there. All right, and the Tigris and Euphrates, or actually no, the Euphrates actually has the same name because the Titus had it. I keep saying Titus. Uh, the Tigris, uh, the Pison and the Gihon all had different names, but the Lord kept the name the same for the Euphrates. Okay, so just the point that I'm making is, when the kingdom is established, we will live on all of the land that is allotted to us, and then we will also inherit the earth itself. So, as I mentioned before, just how, like in slavery times, they would have us on plantations, they would have us build these slave houses, and we would live in them. And master owns us, master owns the houses, master owns the land, and master lives in the big house. Well, the big house for us is going to be Jerusalem, our lands. And when the heathens go back home, well, we're going to have them as slaves, and they're going to go back to their own lands. But we're going to own the whole earth. We're going to inherit the whole earth. So we're also going to own not only them but their lands. So them living in their land, all right, is like a slave plantation house. The difference is, all right, the heathens versus us is when we take them into captivity, it'll be forever. All right, they're not coming off of their plantation houses. They're going to be slaves and tributaries forevermore, as it says in Isaiah chapter 60. All right, but enough for the side notes. Let's get into the chapter. And the whole congregation of the children of Israel assembled together at Shiloh. Let's pop up Shiloh. All right, Shiloh. Okay, and it says place of rest, a city in Ephraim, and temporary home of the ark of the covenant and the tabernacle, the place where Samuel grew up. All right, he whose it is, that which belongs to him, tranquility, and takes you back to Shalah, to be at rest, prosper, be quiet, be at ease. Okay, and that's what the Lord is bringing. Okay, he said, Scripture speak about resting with us. For now, we have this truth, we have comfort within the Scriptures, but when the Lord returns, right, we're going to have real comfort, physical comfort, mental comfort, right, bodily comfort, because He's going to restore all things, beginning with us, and then working on the earth, and so on and so forth, move forward from there, right? And one of the first order of business, well, not for the slaves, because first order of business for the slaves would be buried with their bodies, but I mean, as far as the kingdom, is to make sure that the laws are reestablished throughout the four corners of the earth. All right, Isaiah 2, Michael 4, right? So yeah, so that's beautiful there. Shiloh. As a matter of fact, let's see if we can find Shiloh. Shiloh Jolie. Never heard of you before. I bet they bring up a bunch of pictures of her. Oh, there's one of their children. Okay. As a matter of fact, we probably have to go. Yeah, look at all that. We're probably gonna have to go back in light of this instead. And I'm pretty sure they'll give us something more closer to what we're looking for, which is some doggone map. Okay. What's this? Can't see it. It's blurry. Capture of the art. I can see that much. So you may not, so like, you may not be able to find it. And that's definitely blurry. If I click on it, it may clear up. Yeah, I don't see it unless I'm looking over, but I don't think I see it. So maybe we won't be able to find. And that's actually the not that I have. All right, it's all good. Let's keep going. So it says, and set up the tabernacle of the congregation there, right in Shiloh. It says, and the land was subdued before them, and there remained among the children of Israel 7 tribes which had not yet received their inheritance. Okay. It says, and Joshua said unto the children of Israel, how long are ye slack to go to possess the land which Yahweh power of your fathers had given you? Yeah, because he already gave us the word, and he told us to go to war. Take these lands. Okay, these are your lands that I promised you. I don't care how many people or what nation is living on it, which is just so happen to be the Canaanites, but I promise you this land. And now, mind you, Joshua's grown up in age. Majority of his life has been war. These wars here, conquering, the Holy Land. Okay, and so there's still territories that haven't been allotted to the children of Israel. This goes to show you that this was a long, period of wars here. All right. Let's get the word slack. Rapa, to sink, relax, sink down, let drop, be disheartened. Having lost determination or confidence, dispirited. Now I don't know if they lost confidence or they were, as it says, dispirited, having lost enthusiasm and hope. Okay, but they were definitely lacking in determination. Okay, that's why Joshua said what he said. Let me go back. Okay, what else is here? To relax, to abandon, refrain, forsake, show oneself slack. Right? Anything else here? Faint, wax feeble. Um, oh look, check that out. It says be slothful, right? And that's exactly what they were doing. They were being slothful because they hadn't finished the war yet. So, let's be slack again. What is this word here? Okay, this one is something else. So go back. Which verse was it? Okay, I think it's 3. So it says, and Joshua said unto the children of Israel, how long are ye slack to go to possess the land which Yahweh power of your fathers have given you? Give out from among you 3 men for each tribe, and I will send them, and they shall rise and go through the land. Okay, so uh, there were 7. It says there were 7 tribes that haven't gotten their land yet. So it says 3 men for each of those tribes. So what would be what? 3, 6, 9, 12. So basically 21 men went out. All right. And let me go. Yep, right here it says, give out from among you 3 men for each tribe, and I will send them, and they shall rise and go through the land and describe it according to the inheritance of them, and they shall come again to me. So I want them to. So I sent out spies to the land. I'm going to send out spies. This time I'm going to send out 3 spies for each of the 7 tribes that haven't gotten their inheritance yet, and they're going to go out and spy out the land and describe the land to all of our borders. Okay, so we can figure this thing out. It says, and they shall divide it into 7 parts. Judah shall abide in their coast on the south, and the house of Joseph shall abide in their coast on the north. All right, which is beautiful, because when you deal with the house of Joseph, all right, that's really in a way symbolic of the northern kingdom. Because mind you, Joseph had the 2 sons, Manasseh and Ephraim. Ephraim became the head of the northern kingdom. All right, which Ephraim, Parium, being fruitful. All right, being the so-called Puerto Ricans. Okay, in which Joseph and Ephraim are interchangeable. There's a couple scriptures on that. The only one I can think of right now is in Revelation chapter 7. I know there's another one. I can't remember exactly where it is, but this is a definitely an often brought out section here. Here it is. Of the tribe of Zabulon was sealed 12,000. Of the tribe of Joseph were sealed 12,000. Of the tribe of Benjamin was sealed 12,000. All right, and then that's the one because it does mention. Oh, but well, actually, yeah, that is because look right here. It says of the tribe of Manasseh was sealed 12,000. But if you look around, it doesn't mention Ephraim. All right, because Ephraim and Joseph are interchangeable. All right, so a lot of times when you see Joseph, we obviously know what's referred to when you say that. But then sometimes it'll say Ephraim. But as it says here, see the house of Joseph, all right, which is basically Ephraim and Manasseh, because those are his sons, all right, which we talked about Ephraim's portion in the north, all right, on the east of the Jordan River. And I believe it was the last chapter, one of the last chapters we went into, talking about their portion on the west of the Jordan River, all right, and then also covering Ephraim, right? So Joseph's sons, Manasseh and Ephraim, Manasseh being the eldest, but Joseph giving the bigger blessing from their grandfather. And they shall divide it into 7 parts. Judah shall abide in their coast on the south, and the house of Joseph shall abide in their coast on the north. Ye shall therefore describe the land into 7 parts, and bring the description hither to me, that I may cast lots for you here before Yahweh our power. All right. So it goes to show you that casting lots is not a wicked thing. Okay. Else Joshua would have been rebuked for it, as well as many other men, all right, who had cast lots in the scriptures. Okay. That's a normal thing. Okay. It's almost like a little process of decision making. Okay. It says, but the Levites have no part among you, for the priesthood of Yahweh is their inheritance. Okay. Which we already talked about. All right. All the tribes got land except for the Levites. The Levites lived amongst all the land in suburb cities, for their all their substance and their cattle and things of that nature, because they were the priests. They pretty much got their living from being those priests of the Lord. All right, through certain offerings and things of that nature. Of course, the Lord gets his cut first, but also the Levites will get certain things, and they live in these suburb cities, so they were well taken care of. All right, because every tribe needs a priest. The only priests are the Levites. So that goes to show you that, which the scriptures tell you anyways, but the Levites lived amongst all the tribes. Okay, Levites lived amongst all the tribes because every tribe needed a priest. Nobody could operate outside of that priesthood, right, of a Levite. Now, given the history of the northern kingdom, where you had Jeroboam, he went straight left. First thing he did was set up that golden calf that they picked up from Egypt. Okay, that never went away. He set up one in Dan, one in Bethel. Then he also just started making any kind of men from any tribe priest, not Levites. All right. So let's keep going. But the Levites have no part among you, for the priesthood of Yahweh is their inheritance. And Gad and Reuben and half the tribe of Manasseh have received their inheritance beyond Jordan on the east, which we just talked about. You had Gad, north of there you have Reuben, and north of there you have Manasseh. And that was all on the east of the Jordan River. As a matter of fact, I think I got my map right here. If I didn't lose it. Yeah, here you go. Oh, actually, and I said it back. Reuben, Gad, Manasseh. Either way, what I was about to say though is don't take too heavily to the maps. All right, because sometimes you'll find 3 to 4 different maps and they'll look sort of different. It's more so just to give you a general idea of where and what it is that we're talking about. All right, so here's what I'm looking at right here, or we're speaking of right here. Gad, Reuben, and Manasseh, all on the east side of the Jordan. The Jordan is that dark blue river there. All right, those light blues are bodies of water. All right. And so now we are on the west, because everything else is on the west. Excuse me, on the west of the Jordan. All right. And as I say, what we talked about, Manasseh and Ephraim. If I'm correct, we covered Benjamin. I can't remember. Um, we might have covered Benjamin. I know he said there's 7 left. If I'm correct, it'd be Simeon, Judah, Dan, Issachar, Zebulon, Naphtali, and Asher. If we covered, I can't remember. Because we just roll through the chapters. You can't remember all those small details like that. But let's keep going. And we'll probably run into it to the 7 are. But we know one was mentioned, Judah, right? So it says, Gad, Reuben, and half the tribe of Manasseh have received their inheritance beyond Jordan on the east, which Moses, the servant of Yahweh, gave them. And the men arose and went away, and Joshua charged them that went to describe the land, saying, "Go and walk through the land and describe it, and come again to me, that I may hear cast lots for you before Yahweh in Shiloh." And the men went and passed through the land, and later on, right, this saying, which casting lots never went away, but later on, all right, throughout the history, you'll hear about the Urim and the Thummim, okay. But anyways, it says, actually, now I'm thinking of it, trying to actually, I might just be thinking, well, either way, you hear about the Urim and the Thummim, because I was thinking, wait, I might be thinking off. Maybe it was a little before that the Urim and the Thummim came around. Yeah, because before that, yeah, I'm right. I'm thinking right because mind you, Aaron and his sons had to purify themselves. I think it was like a week. They had to do this whole process. It was a process for him to even bear the garments and then step into the priesthood. But yeah, because the garments were made, and the Urim and the Thummim were all part of the garments, all right, with the inner pocket. So yeah, before then, all right. But mind you, time has passed. You know how it is. Because I'm pretty sure he probably could have used the Urim and the Thummim, which makes you think, where was it around this time? But nonetheless, that was a side note. I was just making sure my thoughts were clear. So I was right. Yep. Before then, all right, because you can read about that creation of the garments in the books of Exodus. Okay, the priestly garments. So let's keep going. So it says, yep, I may here cast lots for you before Yahweh in Shiloh. And the men went and men went and passed through the land and described it by cities into 7 parts in a book. All right, because I'm pretty sure they had good memories back then, but it was best, to record them. So these spies went out and scribed. Pretty much, they scribed the land. All right, so they not described, but scribed, as scribes will write and so on and so forth. Matter of fact, let me see if I can pull up a scribe right here. Scribes and Pharisees. Well, not the Pharisees, but I'll just mention, because they're often mentioned together. All right, Sariah was the scribe. Yep. All right, Sapar, meaning book. If I'm correct, yeah, I think Sapar means book. To count, recount, relate, to number, take account of. All right. Muster officers again. Scribe, learnman, scribe. So it's pretty much. Let's see if we can get another. Shiva was scribe. So it's the same thing there. I'm just trying to see if anything. Let me look at the numbers. 5608. See if there's any different numbers here. 5608. Let's see what they have in okay. Let's just jump down here to one of these. Same 5608. Yep. Um, there's New Testament. Let's see what the New Testament says. Certain scribe. Let's see, a clerk, scribe, especially a public service secretary, recorder. You see, recorder, whose office and influence differ in different states. In the Bible, a man learned in the Mosaic Law and in the sacred writings. An interpreter, teacher, scribes examine the more difficult and subtle questions of the law, added to the Mosaic Law decisions of various kinds, thought to elucidate its meaning and scope, and did this to detriment of religion. Since the advice of men skilled in the law was needed in the examination of the causes and the solution of the difficult questions, they were enrolled in the Sanhedrin. Yep, because you had the scribes, Pharisees, and the Sadducees that made up the Sanhedrin, and are mentioned in connection with the priests and elders of the people, which obviously is the Pharisees and the Sadducees, right? But you often hear about the Pharisees. See a Bible dictionary for more information on scribes, right? Religious teachers so instructed that from his learning and ability to teach, advantage may redound to the kingdom of heaven. All right. So I mean, the basic point is that they recorded things. Look, you have the word grandma, right? Where you get the word grammar from. Okay. So that's all the point that I want to make. All right. So yeah, it says it divided into 7 parts in a book. And it's matter of fact, let me get the word book here. Yeah, I knew it was Sapar. If I was yeah, book. You see Sapar. All right. Missive, document, writing, book. Okay. Law book, book of poems, kings, book. All right. That's what the word means, book. And came again to Joshua to the host at Shiloh. And Joshua cast lots for them in Shiloh before Yahweh. And there Joshua divided the land into the children of Israel according to their divisions. Okay. Now it says the territory of Benjamin. All right. And we looked at the map, right? Okay. So it says, and the lot of the tribe of the children of Benjamin came up according to their families, and the coast of their lot came forth between the children of Judah and the children of Joseph. All right. Which the children of Joseph, meaning what? Ephraim and Manasseh, as you see, according to this map, anyways, you see Benjamin's border hitting both Manasseh and Ephraim's border. All right. And then there's Judah on the south. Okay. And their border on the north side was from Jordan, and the border went up to the side of Jericho on the north side and went up from the mountains westward, and the goings out thereof were at the wilderness of Bethaven. Now, I always say this, when you look at this on the map, it looks small, man, but when you realize how big the earth is, even this, what seems to be a small portion of land, is actually pretty huge, okay? And look, and this map is off, because they have Jerusalem in Benjamin's land. All right, Jerusalem is supposed to be in Judah's land. If I'm correct, Jerusalem is in Judah's land. Okay, I'm gonna have to double check that, but as far as I know, Jerusalem should be in Judah's land. That's why I say, you'll see several different maps, more so just to give you an outline of what we're talking about, not pinpoint accurate. Okay, so it says, the border went up to the side of Jericho on the north side and went up through the mountains westward, and the goings out thereof were at the wilderness of Bethaven. And the border went over from thence toward Luz, to the side of Luz, which is Bethel, southward. And the border descended to Atarothadar, near the hill that lieth on the south side of the nether Bethoron. All right. Now, if you want to get really intricate with the map, all right, all you gotta do is just pull up these names and try to find the general locations. All right. So it says, and the border was drawn thence and compassed the corner of the sea southward from the hill that lieth before Bethoron southward, and the goings out thereof were at Kirjath Baal, which is Kirjath Jearim, a city of the children of Judah. This was the west quarter, and the south quarter was from the end of Kirjath Jearim. All right, and the border went out on the west and went out to the well of waters of Nephtoah. All right, as a matter of fact, we'll do this real quick. Well, actually, I could have probably pulled it from there. Opening a spring or source of water on the boundary of the territory of Judah and Benjamin, located west of Jerusalem. So would you just grab this, hit web search, all right, go up and hit images, and see stuff like this will come up, maps, things of that nature. All right, looking at Nephtoah. Okay, so you see most of these maps the same. Sometimes it looks slightly different. Now, if you highlight something and you don't see web search, just hit these 3 dots over there. Comes up what we call the hamburger, because sometimes it'd be like 3 lines, so they call it a hamburger. But just hit those 3 dots up there, and then you'll see something else. I'm trying to see if I can get you an example here. Maybe not from here, but yeah, every now and then web search won't pop up, and so what you do, you just hit those 3 dots over there, and you'll be able to still grab. I believe it'll say like define or something like that. Okay, so yeah, that's how you do that. So verse 15 says, and the south quarter was from the end of Kirjath Jearim, and the border went out on the west and went out to the well of waters of Nephtoah. And the border came down to the end of the mountain that lieth before the valley of the son of Hinnom, and which is in the valley of the giants on the north, which we already talked about the giants. So we're not going to go over that over and over. and descended to the valley of Hinnom, all right, to the side of Jebusai on the south, and descended in Enrogel. Now, Hinnom is something that you hear about, okay, all right, Hanam, meaning lamentation, a valley, deep and narrow ravine, which is basically a valley, with steep, rocky sides located southwest of Jerusalem, separating Mount Zion to the north from the hill of Evil Counsel and the sloping rocky plateau of the plain of Ephraim to the south. All right. Now you hear about the valley of Hinnom when you go into talking about hell. All right, because some people believe, and some people still believe, that hell is a place on the earth. I mean, under the earth, burning with fire, so on and so forth. Okay. If I'm correct, that's that valley that's also shown. Basically, a place where they would take and burn things. Okay. So hell doesn't exist. That's a Roman Catholic false doctrine. It's a lie. All right, hell is the grave. It's also a condition that you play out on the earth. That's what the Bible tells you. So, we don't really care what anyone else thinks or says. And also associated with that was the Valley of Hinnom. That's a whole other topic there. Um, maybe we'll refresh on the whole entire breakdown of it and do a lesson on it because maybe someone needs to know. Maybe I got something else I want to go into. I don't know. I try to work it in my studies somewhere, Lord willing. It says, and the border came down. I'll probably have to go and find it so I won't forget it so I can save it to the side. But let's keep going. And the border came down to the end of the mountain that lieth before the valley of the son of Hinnom, and which is, and actually, and it says the son of Hinnom, because we talk about a man, so I didn't make sure I make that clear so you understand. I was mentioning the valley of Hinnom, separate from what we're reading here, because I know I didn't say that the first time. And which is in the valley of the giants on the north, and descended in the valley of Hinnom to the side of Jebusai on the south, all right, and descended to En Rogel, and was drawn from the north, and went forth to En Shemesh, and went forth toward Geliloth, which is over against the going up of Adumim, and descended to the stone of Bohan, the son of Reuben, and passed along toward the side over against Arabah northward, and went down unto Arabah. And like I said again, these are not just random names. These cities are important to mark out every tribe's territory and the extent of their borders. But we're not going deeply into all those names because we be here, over an hour, all right, just trying to, map everything out, looking for every single city. That's why I said if you like to get very intricate with the map, you can just look up these cities yourself. But we're just giving you a general, location of all these cities and, pretty much the overall, outline of the territories, okay? Verse 19 says, and the border passed along to the side of Beth Haglah northward, and the outgoings of the border were at the north bay of the Salt Sea, at the end of Jordan. This was the south coast. Okay, so you can see what it's. Hold up. Okay, there you go. All right, so you can see what that's talking about there. It says, and Jordan was the border of it on the east side. This was the inheritance of the children of Benjamin by the coast thereof, round about according to their families. All right. Now the cities of the tribe of the children of Benjamin, according to their families, were Jericho and Beth Haglah, and the valley of Keziz, and Beth Arabah, and Zemaraim, and Bethel, and Avim, and Parah, and Ophrah, and Shephar Hamonai, and Ophni, and Gabah, 12 cities with their villages, Gibeon, and Ramah, and Beeroth, and Mizpeh, and Shepharah, and Mozah, and Rechem, and Erpil, and Taralah, and Zelah, Eleph, and Jebusai, which is Jerusalem. Okay, so yep, so the map was I was waiting to see if it was in there or not. Okay, so yep. So Jerusalem is up, is right there in Benjamin's land. Okay. As a matter of fact, let's do this. Jebusai, which is Jerusalem. They got different numbers here. Let me hit this real quick. Jerusalem, which means teaching of peace. Okay, the chief city of Palestine and capital of the city, United Kingdom, and the city. And the nation of Judah after the split. Because if you know the modern day map, you have West Bank, which is over there, right in that area there. Okay. I think there's anything else I was looking for. I want to go back. Okay, there we go. So Jebusai. Well, actually, did I get the? Oh, yeah. Yep, Jebusai. Yabawasa, Yabawasaya, descendants of Jebus or Jebus, descendants of the third son of Canaan, who lived in or around the site of Jebus, the early name for Jerusalem. All right, and pretty much sends you to the same thing. I mean, we already clarified. I just wanted to make sure, you know, because just judging by the map alone, the maps could be off. So I wanted to make sure, and yeah, and we got our answer there. So yeah, so we don't even need all that. Okay, there we go. Yeah, and then Jebusite, we just saw Jebusite right there. Oh, here's a perfect example. See, nothing there. So you hit the little hamburger, the three dots, and there you go, web search. Sometimes you also see it says define. So either way. Jebusite is according to the book of Joshua, and the books of Samuel from the Hebrew Bible, a Canaanite tribe that inhabited Jerusalem called Jebus or Jebus before the conquest initiated. All right, and by Joshua and completed by David. According to some biblical chronologies, it was conquered in 1003 BC. All right, because remember, because David reigned from Hebron and then in Jerusalem for all of his years that he reigned, fresh in place. An early name for Jerusalem, the city of the Jebusites, also Jebusite. All right, cool. All right, so yeah, see, so there you go. And Zelah and Eleph and Jebusite, which is Jerusalem, Gibeath and Kirjath, 14 cities and their villages. I'm sorry, with their villages. This is the inheritance of the children of Benjamin according to their families. So there you go. All right, so yeah, so we'll make sure we stayed on point right there. So you see all these lands there. All right, so that was what chapter were we in? 17, 18. I checked like 3 times a day. I can't remember. Still, I can't remember. Okay, yeah, 18. So that was the end of Joshua chapter 18. Lord willing, you were edified. Next time, All right, I'm going to say Shalom.